An all-American girl vanishes from a Caribbean cruise liner.
Somebody saw her, somebody wanted her, and somebody didn't.
Welcome to another story unraveled. The mysterious disappearance of Amy Lynn Bradley. On March 21, 1998, 23-year-old Amy Lynn Bradley, a vibrant young woman from Williamsburg, Virginia, was traveling with her family aboard the Rhapsody of the Seas, a Royal Caribbean cruise ship, on a trip to the Caribbean. What began as a fun and relaxing vacation quickly turned into one of the most perplexing and haunting disappearances in modern history. Amy's story is one filled with unanswered questions, chilling possibilities, and a family desperate for answers. Amy Lynn Bradley was the youngest of two children, born to Iva and Ron Bradley. Growing up in Williamsburg, Amy was described as an outgoing, adventurous, and loving young woman. She was an active and athletic person, enjoying swimming, volleyball, and weightlifting. She had an infectious personality and a close relationship with her family. At the time of her disappearance, she was attending Longwood College and was planning to begin her career in physical therapy. Amy had been excited about the family cruise, a vacation she had been looking forward to for months. She was traveling with her parents, Ron and Iva, and her brother, Brad. The Rhapsody of the Seas set sail from Puerto Rico, and the trip was planned to visit several Caribbean islands, including St. Thomas, St. Croix, and Aruba. It was supposed to be a relaxing and carefree vacation for the Bradley family. The events leading to Amy's disappearance began on the night of March 21, 1998. The Bradley family had spent the day touring St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Amy was in high spirits, enjoying the beautiful weather and time spent with her family. That evening, after dinner, she decided to go out on deck and listen to music. At around midnight, Amy returned to her cabin. She shared the room with her brother, Brad, and her parents were next door. Amy and her younger brother Brad headed to the ship's nightclub to go dancing. Records show that Brad decided to return to his cabin earlier than Amy. The ship's door lock records show that Brad had entered his cabin at around 3:35 a.m., and Amy soon followed 5 minutes later. She was last seen by her brother when he went to bed, and the ship's staff later reported that her cabin door was locked from the inside. The next morning, when the family woke up, they were stunned to find that Amy was gone. Her belongings, including her purse, ID, and shoes, were still in the cabin. The only thing missing was Amy herself. Panic set in as they searched the ship, but there was no sign of her. The ship's staff was notified, and an immediate search began. However, there was no trace of Amy, and the crew was unable to find any leads. It seemed as though she had simply vanished. Search efforts and investigation. The Bradley family immediately contacted the authorities when the ship docked in Barbados later that day. Local law enforcement, as well as the FBI, became involved in the investigation. They scoured the ship for evidence, questioned crew members, and launched a search of the waters around the ship, but they found no sign of Amy. One theory that was initially considered was that Amy had accidentally fallen overboard. However, this theory seemed less likely when investigators discovered that the weather conditions at the time were calm, and the ship had been docked the entire night. Furthermore, Amy's cabin door had been locked from the inside, and no signs of a struggle were found. There were also no signs that Amy had gone overboard on purpose, nor had she left any messages indicating she wanted to disappear. The ship's crew, though cooperative, did not offer any useful information, and there were no immediate clues as to what had happened to Amy. The situation became even more complicated when it was revealed that there had been no video surveillance footage from that night. The security cameras, which could have captured vital evidence, had been malfunctioning. The authorities were left with little to go on. However, a prime suspect did emerge when a couple of girls told Ron and Iva that they had last seen their daughter with one of the band members, Alistair Douglas, also known as Yellow. Amy's brother, Brad, also recalled seeing Amy dancing with Alistair at the disco. Alistair Douglas was the last person seen with Amy that night. The next morning, Brad had a strange encounter with Alistair, who said, "I'm sorry to hear about your sister." The encounter was odd because the only people who knew Amy was missing were the captain and the security on board. Once the Bradleys heard the statement, they reported it to the FBI. Alistair was later brought in for questioning. How did he know about Amy's disappearance when it had never been publicly announced? Alistair changed his story, claiming to know nothing about it. After questioning, there wasn't enough evidence to detain him. Another strange occurrence happened. A photographer had been hired on board to take photos of the passengers, which they could purchase afterward. However, 9 to 10 hours before Amy's disappearance, all of Amy's photos went missing. She was the only passenger whose photos were missing. The Bradleys attempted to investigate the missing photos, but nothing came of it. Months after Amy's disappearance, chilling reports surfaced that seemed to suggest that Amy might still be alive. The first of these reports came from a man in Aruba, who claimed to have seen a woman matching Amy's description. He described her as being held captive in a brothel in the Caribbean, forced into prostitution. This man claimed to have seen Amy being escorted by a group of men who appeared to be controlling her. A few years later, in 2001, another report surfaced from a U.S. sailor who claimed to have seen Amy on a dock in Curacao, a Dutch Caribbean island. The sailor reported that Amy appeared disoriented and was being escorted by two men. The sailor was convinced it was Amy and later provided authorities with a detailed description. In the years following her disappearance, multiple reports emerged, all suggesting similar scenarios, Amy being seen in the Caribbean, often in situations that implied she was being held against her will. In 2005, a particularly chilling detail surfaced. A photograph emerged, allegedly taken in the Caribbean, that showed a woman who resembled Amy. The photo was circulated to Amy's family, who were convinced it was her. The FBI even brought in a forensic artist to compare the woman in the photo to Amy, and they confirmed that it was a possibility, though not a certainty. The image raised the haunting possibility that Amy had been abducted and forced into sex trafficking. Theories surrounding Amy's disappearance have ranged from the possibility of an accidental fall overboard to the belief that she was abducted and trafficked. One popular theory is that Amy's disappearance could have been connected to a crew member on the ship. The Bradley family has consistently suggested that Amy's disappearance may have been the result of foul play. In 2005, they brought attention to a former ship employee who had allegedly acted suspiciously and was later reported to have been involved in other incidents. Another theory is that Amy might have chosen to disappear and start a new life, though this seems unlikely given her close relationship with her family. She had plans for the future and had never expressed any desire to run away. The idea of her vanishing voluntarily without a trace just didn't fit her character or the circumstances surrounding the night she went missing. Despite the numerous reports of sightings and the extensive investigations by the FBI and local authorities, Amy Lynn Bradley's case remains unsolved. Her family has never given up hope that she will be found and has continued to search for answers. The Bradleys have traveled to various Caribbean islands, distributed missing person flyers, and worked tirelessly to keep their daughter's case in the public eye. Over the years, the case has drawn significant media attention, with numerous documentaries, articles, and news segments exploring the haunting details of Amy's disappearance. Her family's relentless pursuit of the truth has kept Amy's name alive, even as time has passed. Amy Lynn Bradley's disappearance is one of the most perplexing cases in modern true crime. Despite years of investigation, reports of sightings, and countless theories, the mystery remains unsolved. What happened to Amy aboard the Rhapsody of the Seas in 1998? Was she the victim of foul play, or was she coerced into a life of captivity? And if she is still alive, where is she? For the Bradley family, the search for answers continues. Amy's case remains a reminder of the unsettling possibility that some mysteries may never be fully solved. If you have any information regarding Amy Lynn Bradley's disappearance, authorities urge you to come forward. Amy's family still holds out hope that one day, the truth will be revealed. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more.